Mercedes Benz AMG GT-s is easily the most underrated German performance supercar of recent memory. The successor to the SLS AMG and Mercedes' attempt at competing with the Porsche 911, it should be more respected and appreciated by the masses. But maybe that's what makes it so special. While the 911 is tainted by finance professionals driving them to work as their Friday commuter car, this car is probably out enjoying the open road. It's not like this car is just for looks anyways, with a 4.0-liter bi-turbo V8 pushing 503 horsepower and 479 foot-pounds of torque, a 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, and a top speed of 193 miles an hour. There's plenty of performance to enjoy for miles of road and track. I mean, sure, the car being named AMG is confusing, especially when AMG is also the name of the performance division of Mercedes, and so this car is the AMG made by AMG. What's not confusing is how beautiful this car looks and feels. A brilliant decision by Mercedes to use a hot V design where the turbos are tucked into the V of the V8 allowed them to put the engine fully behind where the front axle is, creating a mid-engine car with fantastic weight distribution. This design decision leads to beautiful long sweeping lines giving a truly classic look, combined with modern-day aggressive styling. The interior gives off high-end luxury car vibes with supercar drivability and performance. From 15.5-inch rotors with 6 piston calipers up front, dynamic engine mounts that can be adjusted depending on the type of driving, and a beautifully designed 7-speed dual-axle transmission mounted at the back of the car, it feels as though Mercedes thought of everything. Heck, they even went with a hydraulic steering rack, giving them a leg up in at least one area over their 911, which is a well-known issue for them. Anyways, I'm not in the market for either a 911 or an AMG GT-s, but if I had to choose, I'd probably take the AMG. Is it any better than a 911? Probably not, but I guarantee you'll be unique in this car, so come along for a drive with the owner's son of this AMG GT-s and enjoy learning about why his father chose this car and his own racing career. Okay, so I like this whole console.
No, this shit, yeah.
Because this is great.
No, it's sweet. Only thing I don't like about these cars is like the black plastic. This stuff seems to get scratched up so easily.
Scratched and probably fingerprints too, right?
Yeah, I don't know
all
why.
over it.
I don't know why car companies tend to use this stuff.
Yeah.
It kind of threw me off a little bit.
What's your favorite? I mean, so you've driven it. So it's your dad's car.
Yeah, dad's car. Dad's car, not
yes.
mine.
But Dad doesn't want to be on camera.
Yeah.
So Tyler, not to be confused with Tyler, another Tyler, is the one that's going to be on camera. Dad's son.
Yes. My favorite. You're gonna ask me my favorite.
Yeah, your favorite part of the car.
You know, I always thought these cars were goofy as hell looking.
Yeah.
And pictures, I feel like pictures don't do it justice at all. I thought they were goofy looking, and then I saw it in person, like, holy crap, this thing's gorgeous. So I think, honestly, just the look of it kind of throws you off.
Mm-hmm.
You don't realize how wide it is until you see it in person. You're like, holy crap, it's a wide car.
Yeah, I noticed that too when you were backing it in the spot. I was like, damn, that's pretty. You're taking up like the whole spot to pull it in.
No, it's a meaty car for sure. It sounds really nice too. I'm in comfort mode right now.
Okay, so does the exhaust change based on which mode you're in? Gotcha.
Oops, that's wrong. So we're in Sport Plus now.
Okay.
We'll have to stop at some point so I can put it in the manual mode and really have some fun with it. Because it sounds freaking sweet. So yeah, I'd say that's like my either favorite or second favorite thing is the sound. The exhaust note on this car is just freaking sweet.
I'm surprised your dad lets you take it.
Yeah, I am a nervous wreck driving this car.
But that's good. That's not a bad thing. If you were reckless about it, I'd be like, dude, come on.
Yeah, no, I don't. Driving it is a little anxiety-inducing. This is the most expensive nice car I've driven, aside from like a race car. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know why he bought this car, like versus something else?
So I think he was looking at a 911. I don't know if this was impulsive or what, but for this one.
How old's your dad?
He's 58 now.
Okay.
Sorry, that sounds bad, but I don't know his exact age.
No, that's not bad.
So I knew he was looking at a Porsche prior to this, like a Porsche 911.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly. There's so many Porsche 911s out there. I don't know what exact spec or model.
Which year? And 996, 997, and all the different.
So I knew he was looking at one of those, and he's like, well, I think probably price range, what you pay for what you get. Because he found another one of these. It was yellow. I think he said it was yellow. Same car, except it had been like a lemon law car.
Oh,
so
okay.
the motor like had catastrophic engine failure.
Oh.
They had it repaired, whatever. It was for sale. He just decided not to get it. Like, it just wasn't a good deal. The guy wasn't willing to negotiate the price on that one. And then this one popped up, and yeah, I didn't really know much about it. He didn't tell me. He just, one day he left and came back with it. So
like dads do.
Yeah, no, yeah. But really, I think it's like the bang for the buck car. It's still expensive as fuck, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But the cost of it, you know, and what you get, it can compete like on the Nürburgring with like the GT3. I think it's like right up there with the GT3. 0 to 60 is really similar to a GT3, like not super similar, but close. You know, I don't know how fast the GT3 is.
Yeah, yeah.
3.7 seconds, 506 horsepower.
Well, you also don't see a lot of these.
No,
either.
You really don't. No, it's a very unique car. Like I said, the look of it's interesting. It's like the clown shoe look.
Yeah.
Mid-engine, so it's not actually a front-engine car. The motor's behind the front axle. It doesn't go over the front axle.
Oh, interesting.
And then also it's a dry sump, so it's not a wet sump.
Gotcha.
So that also is they're able to kind of stick that weight where they want it to instead of just underneath the car.
And you had mentioned it's what, 4750 weight?
Yeah, so it's 47% in the front, I'm pretty sure, and then like 50, what would it be, 53%?
53, yeah,
in the
obviously
rear.
47 and 50 don't equal.
Yeah. No, yeah. Oh, there goes his hat.
Oh,
shit.
Oh, okay, so we have a roller car taking pictures and video while we're doing this interview. And Kamani is in the roller car and his hat just flew off. And
the Mercedes took it.
Mercedes took it.
Can I go get my hat?
That's fine. You go ahead. We'll keep going. Like, you have a pretty extensive racing background. And I was kind of creeping on your Instagram, like, not to be a creep,
no,
like,
that's fair.
For years you were racing.
Yeah.
You seemed like really little when you were doing it.
Oh, yeah. So I started back, it was probably, I was like 12, maybe, 12, 11. I was explaining to him kind of just a really quick background of how we got into it.
Yeah, go over that again.
So we were, I tried ball sports. So I used to race dirt bikes. My dad raced dirt bikes. Wasn't a fan, was not my thing. I tried the ball sport thing like every kid does, I feel like. That wasn't my thing either. I wasn't a fan of it.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of a weird era for me. I just kind of didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then we went to Meridian Speedway, and they had these go-karts on display. They're called Outlaw carts. They look like a mini sprint car. They got dirt bike motors on them. So they
really?
It's like a 250F motor on them. Or they also use a CR500, which is off of like an older bike.
Yeah.
So yeah, we saw those on display, and then my dad found one for sale on like I don't know if it was Marketplace or Craigslist.
Whatever back then.
Yeah. Found one on there, and then we went and test drove one prior to buying it. And then, like literally 2 weeks later, we had one in our garage, and we were tearing the motor apart, rebuilding it, getting it ready to rip, basically. So
did you practice at all, like before you did your first race, or did you kind of just go for it?
We just kind of like we had a practice day. I remember out there's this place called Sand Hollow. Well, I guess it's like a little city, but it was the racetrack, which is Sand Hollow Raceway. So we did like a practice day out there. Funny enough, it kind of like lit the fire again for like the 250 class, because apparently prior to then, there really wasn't much 250s racing. At least out at Sand Hollow, I guess. But no one was really racing the 250 class here in Boise and Meridian, I guess. So yeah, we kind of like relit the fire for that. It was
interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Funny enough, we're like right over by OMC, Owyhee Motorcycle Club. We used to race out there too.
Oh, cool.
On their flat track. So yeah, that was kind of the basic go-kart. We did the go-karts like up until I was probably like 17 or 18 even maybe. So yeah, that was a good time. And then I always wanted to do sprint cars, because that's kind of like what those go-karts like resemble, as a sprint car, just a smaller sprint car.
Yeah.
Always wanted to do those. They were just a little out of our budget. Well, not a little. They were a lot out of our budget. So we're like, screw it, let's try the asphalt stuff, because this is all dirt. Sorry, I should have explained. This is dirt
racing. Okay.
Yeah. Dirt circle track go-karts. Get the picture. So it's kind of redneck too, like just a little bit. It's still fucking awesome, but yeah, so we were like, screw it, let's just try the circle track asphalt stuff. So we raced these, like, they're called Legend cars. They look like an older Ford coupe. They also have a Yamaha motor in them. It's out of like an old street bike, motorcycle.
Gotcha.
They were sequential because they're out of a motorcycle.
Okay.
It's like a 5-speed sequential. Those were fun.
Go left here.
They were squirrely as shit though. They
Really?
taught you how to drive a car for sure. Like if you can be fast in a Legend car, you'll be fast in just about anything else on an asphalt racetrack, according to everyone.
Just because of how loose they can get, or the torque, or
yeah, they're just super loose. The tires are just shit. Not anymore. They've switched the tire package over to a Hoosier now. It's like I think it's a Hoosier slick now. You can run just slicks, but before they were this goofy. I don't know exactly what tire, but they were cut to like, so they like cut the tire to like the track. So there was like an angle, like a groove, like a cone shape to them almost. Just so like when you'd corner, like
it would kind of grip it there.
Yeah,
like,
it's weird.
Because you're basically sideways the whole time, right? Or like kind of
on a Legend car, you don't want to be sideways.
Okay.
If you get sideways, you're spinning out in one of those.
Okay.
You can save them, but like you gotta be.
So you really have good grip even on the dirt coming through there.
Dirt track. So dirt track.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Legends you were.
So Legends were asphalt. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry.
So yeah, no, those cars were squirrely. I destroyed probably about 3 of those.
Did you really?
Yeah, had not a fun time in those. I was like, all right, I need to be back on dirt because I was not used to the whole asphalt, driving it really nice and nimble. I was used to just throwing the fucking car in the corner and just driving it really hard.
Yeah. So you went back to track after that, dirt after that, or?
Yeah. So we quit Legend car racing. We went go-kart racing again for a couple more. I'd say probably. I think we went back to go-karts for a couple more seasons.
Okay.
And then we got a ride with a guy named Randy Pierce. He had a sprint car here locally, a dirt one, and he was willing to let me test drive it. We went and test drove it. And he's like, yeah, I've got faith in you, basically. I'm going to put this in manual mode, too. Sorry.
That's okay. Kind of like Hans in Tokyo Drift.
Yeah. But yeah, so he put us in his sprint car. And we did a race with it. It was fun. It was cool. We would rather own our own stuff than rent out a car from someone.
So you have to so he basically had like a lease agreement with you
yeah,
guys
eventually
to rent the car.
After the first race, that's what we were wanting to do, which is what most people do. Like you at least pay a portion for the ride if you're driving someone else's car.
Interesting. Okay.
So yeah, we went ahead and we had a good sponsor backing at the time, so we found we got a hold of Kevin Rudine. He owns Rudine Racing. It's a pretty big race team for sprint cars anyways, over in Washington, and he was able to get us one of it wasn't Corey Eliason at the time. Corey Eliason's another sprint car driver, but it was one of their past big name guys. I forget his name. It's kind of embarrassing that I don't know the guy's name because someone else would call me out for it. Anyways, we got one of their old cars. They were they're top of the line sprint car. Like just all the parts on them. They're all full titanium nuts and bolts. Like
really
full carbon fiber body kit on them.
Wow.
Like
not a cheap car then.
No, yeah, and he gave us a freaking killer deal on it. So that really helped us out. Shout out Kevin Rudine. Kevin, I don't know if you're ever going to see this, but you were awesome.
You can send it to him.
Yeah, no, he was super awesome to us. So we really appreciate his help. Because honestly, without him, we wouldn't have either A, been in the nice equipment, or B, just not race sprint cars. So he really did help us out a lot.
That's awesome.
So we raced limited. They're called limited 360s for 2 seasons, or I think it was like 1 or 2 seasons we raced the limited sprint cars. So it's a 360 motor, which is like a Chevy 350. It's just a bigger cylinder, like a bigger piston. So it's a 360.
Gotcha.
That one, I think our limited motor had about close to like 500-600 horsepower.
Wow.
The car only weighs 1,400 pounds, so it's light. It's a light car.
Oh my god, with that much horsepower.
Yeah, and honestly, it's funny enough, the limiteds feel slow. They were like really slow compared to the open.
Really?
Yeah, just the normal 360s. It was cool. They're like I said, the 350. So they ran on, their 360 motor, run on methanol. They're mechanical fuel injection, so that's a little wonky.
Why is that?
It's just an easier way. Like, it's not necessarily easier, but it just makes more sense on one of those cars. Weight wise, just because then you don't have all like the wiring and all the BS. if you need to switch out a motor really fast, you can swap a motor in one of those cars, and like if you were in a hurry, you could do it in like 20 minutes.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Like a full motor swap?
Yeah, just a whole complete motor change.
Oh my God.
There's no transmission in the car. They're direct drive, so the motor goes from where the engine sits, and then there's the drive shaft, which is literally straight into the back of the motor. There's no clutch. There's nothing. It's just
so
drive
you're in
shaft.
one gear the whole time?
Yeah, it's either in gear, and then you can pull it out of gear. But once you're out of gear and it's running, you can't put it back in gear because it'll just
destroy whatever's in there, right?
So yeah, it was drive shaft straight from the back of the motor into the transmission, or not transmission, but the rear end. And
Yeah.
you just to change the gearing for the car, you just have quick change gears. You drift car guys, you probably have seen them before. They're just like quick change gears. You just like open up the diff in the back and you just put in whatever gear ratio you need for the track.
For whatever race you're doing? Oh, interesting.
And we'd switch them all throughout the night depending on how track conditions change. If it's hooked up, you can run a little taller gear, whatever.
Oh, this is interesting because I don't know anything about racing.
Yeah, there's so much like weird, wonky things. I could really get in depth with it and probably bore a lot of people.
I don't think so. It doesn't bore me. It's pretty interesting, honestly.
But yeah, they're just different cars. They're just built to save weight. So like back to the reason they're mechanical fuel injection is just to save weight.
Okay.
What else?
So then you went through. You had a sponsor. You were racing, and then you kind of decided, like, where could it have gone from there? You just change types of cars, or go to like a different circuit, or? So
I'll go back kind of just real fast. So that was like, we were racing the limited stuff at the time. Then we went to like more just like, you could consider them like not necessarily an open 360, but it's an ASCS 360 race.
Mm-hmm.
So those motors were about our motors dynoed at 785.
Okay.
Same thing, methanol, mechanical fuel injection, naturally aspirated, just 785 horsepower. They ripped. So you can race ASCS series, and I mean, there's professional drivers who that's all they do. That's what they do. They race professionally in the ASCS series.
Yeah.
That's what they do for a living. But from ASCS, you could go up to the World of Outlaws and race with those guys.
Okay, I've heard of that.
And that's like, you'll see NASCAR drivers, Kyle Larson. Yeah, once you're in the World of Outlaws, I mean, you're full blown. You're racing, 30, 40 races a year. Because I mean, if you're a World of Outlaws driver, you're not. Well, I guess if you are World of Outlaws, you're only racing World of Outlaws races. But you can also race. There's a few other, like the All Stars Series circuit. If you're racing that, you're professional. That's what you do for a living. Those guys, they've got 410 motors in their cars, so same weight, 1,400 pounds, except you've got 900 horsepower naturally aspirated V8 in your car.
That's ridiculous.
Those fucking rip. I never got to drive one, unfortunately.
Really?
I did this the 360, the big 360. Those were fast. I mean, it'd sit you in your seat real good.
Really?
Yeah, they were freaking sweet. But yeah, I just like. If we would have continued, we could have gone that route. We just honestly ran out of funding. I mean, it's kind of really what it came down to.
It's got to be pretty costly to stay going like that.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have sponsors paying for everything.
Yeah, you kind of just plan to spend $2,000 every weekend you race.
Oh my, seriously?
Yeah, it's you just kind of budget that. You're like, okay, I'm ready to spend $2,000 this weekend if we don't destroy shit. Between driving, because that's the other problem. We live in Idaho, so there's no dirt tracks here. So we have to drive to Oregon, Washington, Montana, California.
So you were on the road just constantly.
Yeah, that's the other reason why. You're on the road. Like, I was on the road every weekend. Friday, if I was working, I'd take off work on Friday, or Thursday. I'd have to take work off Thursday or leave Thursday night. Drive, race Friday night, wake up, do maintenance on the car. That's another thing. There's a lot of maintenance with those cars.
And you're doing it all yourself?
Yeah, me and my dad are just doing it. So
you're doing the driving, you're doing the maintenance, you're doing the driving on the track.
Driving home too.
Then driving home.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a different breed of people. You meet a lot of good people and a lot of cool people.
Yeah, but you got to really be...
Yeah, your head's really got to be in the game.
The grind to do it is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the average drive just to get to a track from here? Probably between 6 and 12 hours.
Yeah, it was. I'd say probably normally 7. Cottage Grove, Oregon was one of my favorite and closest tracks to us. It was a 7-hour drive. But yeah, we do really long drives. We ended up in North Carolina one time racing go-karts.
You're kidding.
Yeah, no.
Did you drive out there?
We had a buddy who's from Oregon come out.
You're going this way uphill road again.
Sweet. We had a buddy from Oregon drive through Idaho, pick up our stuff because they were going to go to North Carolina, and they drove from Oregon to North Carolina. Yeah, thank Duke Johnson. That's another person. Shout out you guys for doing that for us. That was awesome. But we flew back there, but still, it's just like traveling all over the places.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it really wore on me.
I'm sure, especially as a kid. Like, you're between 12 and when did you start racing? How old were you?
It was just we didn't race last year. So
last year. Okay, so 20.
Yeah.
So for 8 years of like your most formidable years of your life, I mean, you're doing something awesome.
No, yeah, exactly.
But that's a grind.
Yeah, no, it was. It is a grind.
It's not a normal childhood
no,
by any means,
no.
But also not, when you look back on it, you'd be like, that was unbelievable, right? Like even now you do, but
no, yeah, it was sweet. But yeah, it was a lot.
But that is a lot, yeah. Man, at 15, I definitely would have been throwing some temper tantrums on some of those drives.
Yeah, no, I just sleep. I literally trained myself just to sleep like 9 hours during the daytime. I'd feel like crap after doing it. But
that must have been a lot for your dad, too.
No, it wore on him. I feel like that aged him like 5 years. Like sped up his aging process.
Yeah.
Because that was a lot. Financially, and just same thing for him. I mean, it was the same
driving thing. And the same grind as you were going through.
Yeah, he'd work, and then we'd take off on Friday, and then we'd come back on Sunday. We'd pull the car out, wash the car off, spray the trailer out because it had so much dirt in it and stuff, and then go back to our regular scheduled program for the next week, and then same thing maybe the next weekend.
Do you miss it?
I miss a lot of it. There's just some stuff that I just like remind myself that I don't miss.
Right.
It's like just the time away from home. I love like the state I live in. It's sweet.
Especially for like you like to do a ton of outdoors.
Yeah, I
too,
do.
So.
I like to ski, fish, bike, everything. Hunt.
So this is the place to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So like I'd always miss home. But yeah, I mean, I miss driving those cars. They were fun. They're so fun to drive. It's just like the maintenance and the time away from home. It just sucks.
Yeah.
But
what's it like to like be on the podium and win? And
it's sweet. It feels great. Yeah, no. Like if you just get like in a rhythm, like you'll know. Like I don't know. I just feel like some nights like when you're driving, you just know you're just like you can hit your marks every lap and you're just fucking ripping.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, okay, this is it. Like not missing a mark. Just like.
A lot of drivers talk about that. There are days where it's like the car was the same as it was, the race we just won, but I was just couldn't hit a rhythm or groove, or like it didn't matter about the car because I was just able to, I was just in a groove, hitting my times, everything.
No, yeah.
I feel like that's anything in life too, like any sport or job or anything. Sometimes you hit a groove.
No, definitely
for a period of time.
No, 100%. But yeah, no, it was sweet. Like I don't know, you just get, like I said, you'd get in that groove, and then you'd hit like lap traffic, and you could just like, it was just like clockwork. Like you didn't even have to think. You were just through the lap traffic, like no problem. Like,
is lap traffic annoying?
Oh, it sucks sometimes. it did suck. You could be like, that could cost you.
Because if 4 seconds ahead of somebody.
Oh yeah,
and then you get stuck behind lap traffic,
someone
right?
They're out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it sucks.
Is that the customary thing? Like if you're in the lead and you're coming up on lap traffic and they know you're in the lead, like are they supposed to move over? Or
so in like sprint car racing, it's a little different because we don't have like you don't have mirrors or anything. You're just kind of going off of sound.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
that's pretty scary.
Yeah, I mean if you'll have to like toss up a picture for people who don't know what they look like.
Go straight through.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Sorry.
Yeah. It's okay. We have the right of way in this car.
But yeah, no, there's like you can't really see much. Like you're in a full containment seat, so you've got head restraints on both sides of you. And then you've got a big ass wing on the top of your car too, and like half of the wing on the right side is in your vision, so you can't really see to the right. So you're kind of just relying on sound.
That's crazy.
When you come up on lap traffic, I mean, they know someone's there. They don't know who's there, though.
Right.
They don't know if it's someone who's racing them for their position or if it's actual leaders. And the only way they'll know is if you poke your nose. And some people will they won't race you back, and others don't care, and they'll race you like they're racing anyone else. So it just depends on who you get behind, I guess.
I feel like I would race no matter what, as much as that would drive me nuts if I was in
No,
the lead.
yeah, I mean, I don't
like,
blame
I'm just
them.
being honest.
It's hard. It's hard. I mean, the easiest thing like for lap traffic like that I could do if I was being lapped is I would just change my line. Like in sprint car racing, there's a high line and there's a low line.
Yep.
So if leaders are coming below me, just go up high. If leaders are coming above me, just go down low. But it's hard to make those like split-second decisions when you're on the track. So
if you could like do something in the future around racing or cars, do you think you would go back to like actually racing, or do you think you would try to do something else around racing?
So I think it'd be cool to go just do a couple more races in the sprint car. I've got a drift car right now that I'm like building and working on. Yeah.
Are we gonna film that car?
Yeah, we can. So my buddy Jeff, shout out Jeff too. This guy's awesome.
Going left here.
Cool. Where everyone's turning.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I met him when I was racing in Montana, and he came over. He was talking about his drift car. He's got an LS or an SC400.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's LS swapped. It's
dang.
badass.
I don't think I've seen an SC400 drift car. I mean, maybe I haven't. I just haven't realized it. But
it's freaking sweet.
That's awesome.
But yeah, he came over. I met him racing in Montana, Billings, Montana, and we were just shooting the shit and got his social media info. We just stayed in touch, and we've always just talked back and forth. And last year he invited me in like June to go watch him drift at the Villains, the Villains Sports Land over in Washington. So I went over there and watched him, and they were giving away a car for whoever did the biggest entry at the Villains event. And he's like, if I win the car, I don't really need it, so I'll just give it to you. And
seriously?
Yeah. So he won the big entry.
No way.
Yeah, and he gave me the car. So
what kind of car is it?
It's a BMW. It's a 2006 BMW 328.
Okay, that's a pretty common drift platform.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's not the nicest car. It had its quirks. It had been engine swapped. And like, it was a mess. I fixed it. It runs now, but it was a mess.
So they didn't really give you like, hey,
no,
you can go drift this tomorrow. It was like, listen, we've got this car.
Yeah, that wasn't supposed to be the giveaway car. The giveaway car they were originally supposed to get fell through. And people were kind of pissed off, like, yo, what the hell? He said you're giving away a car, now you're not. So he gave away that car. Didn't want to give it away because it was a POS, but it's a car. It's a free car.
Yeah.
And it's a perfect platform for like a drift car, a free drift car. So, but yeah, that'll be my next little venture in the car racing or car scene, I guess.
Drifting would be pretty cool to get into. And
no, yeah, it's sweet.
Because you've got two spots in Idaho that...
Yeah, no, that's the other good part is I don't have to travel, 7 hours to go do it.
Right, because Apex is at Meridian.
Yeah.
And then there's Idaho Drift.
Yeah, out at
that new complex.
Yeah, Blue Valor.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you really don't have to go far to get into that.
No, not at all. So yeah, I just got to work on it. I've been kind of procrastinating, to be completely honest, but got some money saved up to put towards the car.
Nice.
Needs an oil pan gasket, radiator, some other little maintenance things, and I can get an angle kit for it and some wheels.
All right, so when you're like, get going drifting and start competitively doing it, I'll come out and we'll have to film it.
No, definitely, it'd be sweet. They're so fun to ride in, dude.
I've never been in one. I've been wanting to like just ride along and check it out.
They're so fun. They're so freaking fun. Just to ride in.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's scary as hell when someone else is at the wheel. That was like my first time. And yeah, it was.
That's like with anything. Anyone like. Whenever somebody else is behind the wheel, it always, with anything, jet ski, whatever, it's always way scarier.
Oh, 100%. All right, we should let her open up a little bit.
Yeah, let's get some. That's pretty good.
That was 80.
Yeah. No, that thing goes. That's fun.
You can feel the rear end just kind of. It's like you're on ice. You
can feel it on ice, but then you just felt it go. I'm good.
thankfully, I mean, it handles really well. Like that right there. You know, when you're sitting in the passenger seat, it's like, that's fucking scary. 'Cause my dad would do that shit to me. I'm like, dude, I don't know, dude. You're making me nervous having this car. But then you get in the driver's seat, you drive it. It's like, no, it's on train tracks, dude.
Yes.
It's like, it's fucking hooked up, so.
Well, because I've done a few episodes on that road we started on, and I've been in the passenger seat and be like, I'm gonna die.
yeah.
But then I'll take my S2000 and I'm doing like 5 miles an hour higher than what we did in whatever car I was in. I was like, this isn't that bad.
No.
This is good.
Yeah. You know, this thing on a track would be freaking. It would be.
Yeah, you gotta get this down to Utah.
Yeah, I know. It would be. Oh, it'd be so.
So the
sweet.
episode I just released is the Z06. Even though I said Z06 in the intro, I'm gonna get
That's all right.
in trouble.
That's all right.
The Z06 Chente, he's like dying to take it down to Utah, and he wants to get like a group of cars to go down and race, and
that'd be cool.
And so I will hit you up when that happens. We'll have to get you and your dad down there. And
like, Dad, come drive your expensive car.
Yeah,
come
put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
And drive this car.
Yeah.